Back to the NBA now. The Thunder are still the favorites to win the NBA Finals, according to DraftKings Sportsbook. But creeping up behind them are the Spurs and the Celtics, have the third best odds to win the Finals, despite being the favorites to come out of the East. So who is more likely to reach the Finals? Is it OKC or is it Boston? What do you think, Wendy?
This is not a simple answer. And first off, to get to the finals, not win the title, because I think those odds kind of mirrors with the way I would sort of forecast it. I think the Celtics potentially have easier path. I mean, I don't want to say it's easy for anybody. The Celtics, to me, are the favorite in the East because how it tightly packed some of these teams are, and the addition of Jason Tatum. And I recognize that the Knicks did beat them 3 out of 4, and the Knicks beat them in the playoffs last year. However, none of those 4 games in the regular season came with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the lineup. So I kind of want to push that regular season aside a little bit. I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be a load to deal with over the course of a 7-game series. We already saw in the games played in the regular season that the Thunder had difficulty just what he could do against them. So I think climbing the Spurs mountain potentially, or Denver, either or, is a little bit harder for Oklahoma City than what the Celtics are potentially facing. And so I say the Celtics by a nose.
Wendy's so funny. Wendy's so funny. He just makes things unnecessarily complicated sometimes. It's really this simple, Wendy.
Called cautious.
Do the Celtics have to go up against Victor Wembanyama or Nikola Jokic in the playoffs? The answer is no, unless they get to the finals. So on one hand, you have a champion who's a walking triple-double, who led the league. I mean, you're talking about a guy in Jokic that's led the league in rebounding, okay, that's averaged a triple-double, and he's a champion, okay? Or you get to go against this 7'5" freak of nature who's a 5-inch taller version of Kevin Durant in some people's eyes. It's one of the two. So obviously the road to the finals is going to be tougher for OKC than it would be for the Boston Celtics, because if you're the Boston Celtics, you got an inexperienced Detroit Pistons team with their star who's been down, who doesn't have a reliable, dependent, bona fide, consistent number 2 scorer per se, even though Jalen Duren is something special. Or you got a team in Cleveland that is suspect defensively, and we have to see which James Harden is going to show up come playoff time. Or you have a New York Knicks team that appears to be a shell of themselves in terms of toughness and grit compared to what we saw the last 2 years. Clearly, the answer to this question is the Boston Celtics by a mile, because in the West, it's Victor Wembanyama and it's Nikola Jokic standing in your way. They're not standing in the way of the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference. That is the simple answer to this question.
I can't believe you both said that, considering the fact that we have said all season long it feels like the Thunder and everyone else. I'm not saying I disagree. I'm just surprised by the answers. Coming up, there was.
Well, we can't say that. We can't say that, Shay, because we've seen the San Antonio Spurs nipping at OKC's heel, even when OKC was winning games left and right and having the best record in basketball for a month. The San Antonio Spurs were right there, winning 26 to 28 games. So, of course, we haven't said that recently. When the season started off, we were of that mindset. We certainly haven't had that mindset recently.
Okay, we'll see. We also said the San Antonio Spurs don't have the experience and that the Thunder haven't been fully healthy for a long time. But yes, the playoffs are a different ballgame. We'll see what happens. There was so much talk about tanking, though, during the NBA this season. Since it's over.
Unbelievable. This guy is such a great head coach. And remember, we all thought, I don't know if he's that good. He's chewing the gum on the sidelines. He watches The Town 8,000 times a week. Like, what a weird dude. He's unreal as a head coach. See, I'm not trying to fire him. All right, now the Western Conference.
There's one.
So you have Western Conference, Golden State at the Clippers. I would make the argument in the play-in. I would make the argument that Golden State should tank the play-in game. You can ask me a follow-up in a second on that. Portland at Phoenix, and then a play-in, and then you have Minnesota number 6 at 3. Denver, best series of the first round. I don't think there's any debate on that one. And then Houston at the Lakers in the 5-4, 4-5 matchup. Just quickly, Golden State. They have no chance of beating the Thunder if they are to win 2 games in a row here. They are better off in the lottery than they are in the playoffs. I know that's a loser mentality, but the reality is they're better off in the lottery. Now, let's talk about the Lakers and the Rockets. For a second, going into this last night, you did not think that was going to happen. Denver didn't play any of their players outside of Jokic to get to 65 games, but San Antonio out-tanked them because it didn't mean anything, and Denver ended up winning. They stay in the 3 seed. You're a Lakers fan, CC. How do you feel about this matchup without Luka, without Reeves, against the Houston Rockets?
This is going to be an ass whipping.
Okay.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if this ends up being a long series. If this goes 6 or 7 games, that means LeBron James got in the way back machine, turned back the hands of time, beat up Father Time on his way to trying to beat up the Houston Rockets. Because if it's not LeBron, then it's not going to be anybody for the Lakers. So that's why I think that this gets wrapped up in 5 series, and it could be a situation where the Rockets break out the broom. So, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Houston is minus 750 to win the series. They are overwhelming favorites. The Lakers just don't have enough firepower between Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. That's 60 points that's missing in your lineup.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's going to come from. So, yeah, I get why the Lakers are viewed by Vegas as such a long shot to be able to make it to the second round with this particular matchup.
Yeah, I side with you on this one, CC. I don't think it's going to be close at all. I think it could be an absolute bloodbath. And a lot of times we always defer to greatness when we prognosticate in sports, but that is just such a heavy lift for anyone, especially a 41-year-old LeBron James, especially somebody who's had a lot of postseason in that 23-year career. That even though he takes great care of his body, that's just too much to ask of him to be able to overcompensate for Luka and for Austin Reeves. So I was one of those people that bought into the Lakers. They were playing incredible basketball down the stretch. I really thought that this new look Lakers, this reinvented Lakers with LeBron's adjusted role could absolutely go on a run. But the reality of the situation is these injuries, I think, are way too much for them to overcome.
So based on all of this, take out the 1 seeds. Do the Rockets have to win the first round series more than any other team? Because if you're sitting there saying the Lakers have no shot, I mean, are they the most... Do they have the most pressure on them outside of the obvious with the 1 seeds to win the first round? I mean, the Knicks obviously made the changes we just discussed. If Denver loses to Minnesota, it's Anthony Edwards. They went to the conference finals 2 years in a row. That's not like this horrific loss. Houston kind of has to win this series against the Lakers, and LeBron James plays for the Lakers, which is a wild thing to think about. Upon further review, next.
Doc Rivers will not be back with the Milwaukee Bucks. He is out as the Bucks head coach. Sort of saw this coming. The Bucks were not a playoff team. There was a lot of discontentment and disagreement in that Milwaukee Bucks locker room. We heard about it all season. Giannis was, of course, asked about that before the regular season finale against the Sixers. He spoke to reporters, was asked if he thought this was his last game as a member of the Bucks. This is what he said. That's a very good question. I don't know. It's not up to me. We'll see. Okay, so a lot of gray area there. We're going to welcome in NBA champ Iman Shumpert joining the program. No gray area here. He tells it like it is. Shump, you just heard Giannis's answer if he will stay as a member of the Bucks. Do you think he has played his final game in Milwaukee?
Well, I think so. I don't know. I 100% understand what Giannis is saying when he says it's not up to him entirely. But I think that we've seen from the collection of things that we've seen during the season, as well as now what we've seen off the court, that points at the fact that we won't be seeing Giannis in that jersey anymore. And it's about to get really interesting this summer on to where he decides to take his talent.
Yeah, new coach, possibly the post-Giannis era in Milwaukee. Could be an impactful offseason. We still have the postseason, though. We got the play-in tournament to go, Iman. And one of the set matchups we have, Lakers and Rockets. Lakers are the higher-seeded team, and yet they are plus 550 in terms of underdogs to win this series because of Luka and because of Austin Reeves and their injuries. How much of a chance do you give LeBron to lead the Lakers to this first-round win?
Well, it's not necessarily a thing of giving LeBron a chance, right? It's more making sure that the team is able to play to a certain level and get the game to the end of the game. If you can get the game to, I don't know, 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes and out. If you can get it to 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, making it a 2-3 possession game, I think that you can be good as anybody in the playoffs because you have a LeBron James. I understand that he can't do everything that he did athletically, but you're talking about somebody that is basically a computer when you start talking about this league. Understanding the ins and outs, understanding the rules, understanding when to pick your spots. I'd say the biggest knock on LeBron going through this playoff run will be his free throw shooting. And that says a lot. So when you can get the game to within decisions where it goes back and forth between your ball-dominant players, I think LeBron James always stands a chance to make a series run out. I don't know if he has enough to win a series, but he can definitely make it interesting.
Amon Shumpert has seen it firsthand. Lifted a Larry O with LeBron James. Amon Shumpert joining the program this morning on SportsCenter. Shump, much appreciated.